Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Today I wanted to talk about this concept of intentional amnesia. So what the heck am I talking about? I'll get to that in a minute. Relax. Look around. You're okay. You're gonna be okay. False alarms. Interesting enough, I was visiting Mom today, and at the senior living facility, there was a false fire alarm. And so, it's going off, and it's interesting. We got a whole bunch of people there, the older folks, with walkers, wheelchairs, and they can't use the elevator for safety reasons. So how are they getting outside if they're on the second floor? So, interesting. Anyway, it was a false alarm. They announced it quickly, and we had to listen to the alarm go until the fire department could come and clear the building and shut it off. So anyway, false alarms. Nothing to be concerned with. Had a whole bunch of old folks going, oh, false alarm. And they sat calmly. I'm going to encourage you to look at your symptoms as false alarms, not evidence that you're sick or broken or injured or damaged. Symptoms are not proof of tissue damage. They are proof that your brain's perceiving danger. So, intentional amnesia, right? What really sparked this was I talked to a lot of people, and in some cases, some people are experts at what's wrong with them, about their traumas, about what happened, about what they've been told, about what they read. They're experts. They've got like an amazing memory for everything that they've been told, they read, they self-diagnosed, that they felt, when it happened, how it happened, the damage, the injury, the whatever it may be. And what I'm going to encourage you to do is stop being an expert at what's wrong with you. Stop being an expert at how bad your future's going to be. Right? And I kind of came up with this idea of, wouldn't it be great if people could have amnesia? I saw a video on, Instagram or something, that they talked about a mental exercise where you intentionally go through and say, let's make believe we have lost our memory, and all we have is the right now present day. And yes, your symptoms may be scary, but without all the history, without all of the nocebos, without all of the diagnoses and the prognoses and the research and the things people have told you, and the parents who had a lifetime of pain or symptoms or whatever, that would certainly, if you could have amnesia, it would certainly dial down your fear, because you're not carrying with it that emotional, the charge from your past and everything you've learned or been told. So it kind of, had me, searching a little bit. Well, intentional amnesia. And, I printed out a couple things. I want to read some of this. Intentional amnesia, also known as intentional forgetting or motivated forgetting, is the act of consciously trying to forget unwanted information. Right? Sounds an awful lot like when our thoughts come up with the fearful thoughts, and I say, you don't have to believe them. You don't have to take them seriously. Right? This is a little bit different, though. Consciously trying to forget unwanted information. Right? And in this world that I talk about, perceived danger, we can make that decision to consciously forget the unwanted information because we've done the research, we understand what's creating symptoms, and in most cases, this unwanted information is incorrect. It's not factual, it's just fearful. And so, making a conscious decision to forget the unwanted, incorrect misinformation can be really useful. So it further says intentional amnesia can be used to remove information that is irrelevant or undesirable, such as painful memory or loss or trauma. It can also be used to update memory with new information, such as new phone number or a changed meeting time. Importance. Intentional amnesia is important for psychological health, emotional regulation, and behavioral flexibility. It can also help people structure their cognition. In other words, you're saying, this is what I'm going to believe. This is the stuff I'm not going to believe. I'm going to forget that. And it does, it does mention emotional constraints. Emotions can make it harder to intentionally forget certain events. For example, participants in this study were able to intentionally forget neutral pictures, but not emotional ones. And so in the case of the misinformation, which I'm encouraging people to forget about because it's wrong and it's not beneficial and it just perpetuates fear, the emotional charge of that fear makes it more difficult. But I think it's a useful thought exercise to say, where would I be if I could forget all of this bad, scary stuff? Because I have some people who say, I just can't let go of what I've been told. The doctor said this, the doctor said that, I read this. I talked to a person on the internet and they told me this. My first reaction is, who's this person on the internet that you're basing your life's decisions on? It's just some stranger on the internet who's equally terrified as you are and teaching you to be terrified as well. That's why those bad neighborhoods, those internet forums, the Facebook communities, the Reddits, the whomever it may be, they can be really challenging because you're having a whole bunch of terrified people teaching you to be terrified as well. Whereas you've got really good information now. So that's why I talk so much about accurate information. And I'm going to encourage you to intentionally get amnesia about the inaccurate information, the falsehoods, the misdiagnoses, the prognosis that says, oh, you're not going to get better, learn to live with it. Forget that stuff on purpose. How do you do that? When you notice your thoughts going to it, say, we're not doing that. That's not valid. We're not going to think about that now. We've been there, done that, got the t-shirt. You don't need to do it. It's not beneficial. So go through that mental exercise of what are the things that you would like to intentionally have amnesia about. And then make a mental note that anytime those thoughts should surface, choose to disregard them and make a point to clarify, brain, that is not relevant. We don't need to remember that. It's important. Intentional amnesia. I would never wish dementia or Alzheimer's on anybody. Amnesia can happen for some reasons, and in some cases it's beneficial. There's selective amnesia, which is when somebody's got a great memory, but they don't remember childhood traumas. And that's the brain's way of protecting you, right? So we're not talking really about that. What we're doing is we're assessing what information constantly am I ruminating on. Is it accurate? Is it beneficial? Or is it perpetuating the fear and the perceived danger? And I am going to selectively forget that stuff. Intentional amnesia. I'm going to intentionally say that's not valid. It doesn't warrant space in my brain anymore because all it does is create fear. And it's wrong. That's the key. It's wrong. How do you know? You've studied this stuff. You've been reading, the TMS books. You've been watching my videos. You've been watching the success stories. The common theme with all the success stories is their willingness to accept that their symptoms were a mind-body condition. The people I see struggle the most are the people who refuse to believe that they're okay, and they cling to everything that's wrong with them. or that they fear is wrong with them, or that they predict will be wrong with them. Right? The people who struggle the most are the ones that refuse to accept a mind-body condition is creating their symptoms and cling to this belief that they're broken or sick, or if they're not hyper-vigilant, they will fall sick and end up in a bad place. So I'm not diminishing or minimizing the struggle that some folks have. I honor that. I recognize some of these symptoms are scary. The experience is scary. But it's really in your best interest to accept this stuff. Once you've done the homework, you've learned, you've had conversations with different experts, whether it be me or other people in the industry, and they're indicating, yep, this is all just TMS, perceived danger, neuroplastic, whatever term you like. Once you've been told that and the assessments say that, you're not doing yourself any favors to keep on going back over the fence to, but what if it's this? What if it's that? You know? And if you are like a medical encyclopedia with all of the definitions and terms and diagnoses, you're too deep in the research, folks. Do not be an expert in everything that could be or you think is wrong with you. Become an expert in teaching yourself that you're going to overcome all of these fears. You're going to intentionally develop amnesia for all the bad shit you've experienced and heard and been told, and you are going to intentionally create a new story, one that says, I'm going to get better. I can do this. I will do this because I know the accurate information, and I'm going to intentionally forget the bad stuff, which is all misinformation. I hope this makes sense. So, intentional amnesia. Choose to forget the stuff which you have, through your research, determined is wrong. And if you're saying, but my brain keeps bringing it up, it's your brain, folks. It's your brain. You get to choose how to use it and what information you allow to dominate or what information you get to forget. Forget some of that bad stuff or all of it. If it's inaccurate, it doesn't warrant any space in your brain. So, I'm going to leave it there, folks. Hope you're doing well. Think we have a success story coming out tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that. And as always, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Love you.